Hello, is this Rick on
Hello.
the phone?
Yeah, it's Rick Lindy. How you doing?
Hey, Rick Lindy, welcome to the show. How you doing, sir?
Excellent. How about yourself?
Oh, I couldn't be better. We got you on the show with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my God, I'm sorry we couldn't get you inside the studio, but that's okay. We'll get you in coming up very soon. I mean, we've all heard you. You were just recently at the Arcada, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't it last weekend? Were you over there?
That's right. I play at the Speakeasy typically once a month, and then a couple times a year I do specialty shows in the theater itself, as well as some other theaters around the USA and in surrounding areas. Like we're doing a big show Sunday, March 30th at the Egyptian Theater in DeKalb, which I really look forward to.
Well, that sounds pretty neat, huh? That's coming up
Oh,
right around the corner. Well, we hope to have you in the studio before then. You could give us maybe even a little bit more about that. And if anybody wants to call in, you want to call in on our studio line, it's 847-931-1410 with any questions or any comments for Rick Lindy. By all means, please give a call. I've put a few pictures. I don't know if you were watching on the YouTube as well, but we do have the YouTube posted on there. And that you would go to youtube.com at WRMN Radio. So,
actually, ironically enough, I was talking to the editor of a magazine that does model magazine, and I'm heavily into artwork and also doing really highly detailed models. So I do them for a side job, and it's another form of art that I do. So I was talking to the editor of a magazine from that's going to do an article with me in it. So I'm looking forward to that.
well, that sounds great. And I understand that you went to the Academy of Art in Chicago. Is that correct? And you did advertising and design?
Right. The American Academy of Art, I studied illustration and, the fine arts, but also advertising and design as well. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, well, that's pretty. I knew the other arts, but I'm just saying it's just ironic that here you have this piece that you're speaking of, and pretty much you were studying some of those as well early on in your days. And I know you have a great bio. I mean, I can let you just really talk about yourself, and it would probably be a whole lot better. But you got into the industry at age 11, is that correct? Into playing your first guitar and really getting into this rockabilly type music?
Yeah, I actually started on piano first when I was about 8 years old, and both my parents were musicians and artists as well, painting and drawing art, and also musicians. My dad had his own band, so they were very into having my sisters and I learn musical instruments, and they always thought that it was some way to really, educate you in other forms that wasn't being done in regular school.
Yeah, well, it puts you out in front of people. I mean, it certainly gets inhibitions down. It lets you interact and, lets you be with, again, a vast of different, I would say different age people, if nothing else. And it gives you that confidence, and especially being a performer, I'm certain you would need that, type of background, no?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it never hurts to be somebody that's, social and not afraid to be in front of people. And I'll tell you, I was terrified, though, started performing live. And the first times I actually performed was actually in theater, because I took drama and I was in plays. And being that I could sing, I was usually cast in musicals. And just loved that experience, and it really kind of helped me get used to being in front of an audience.
And I bet it's got to be good with voice projection as well. Anytime you're on any play,
No, absolutely. No, we started when I started doing theater, they hadn't gotten into those little microphones that they have nowadays that are pinned on people's clothing and things.
Sure.
We had to protect that.
Yeah, and I was reading you were cast on some pretty big stuff. Bye Bye Birdie, South Pacific, The Music Man, Sound of Music, Annie Get Your Gun, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. So you had quite a background, and it seems like you had the support of your mother and father behind you all the time. Of course, them being people in show business and having a entertainment background and musical background, but that had to boost you 1,000%.
Well, it did. Unfortunately, I lost my dad when I was 12 years old. He passed away suddenly, and it was pretty hard on me. My other sisters are older than me, so I kind of got that rug pulled out from under me. And but in a way, instead of going down the wrong path, I really feel like I took the right path for doing the best that I could be, and I kind of did that in honor of my dad, rather than feel sorry for myself and say, "Oh, I lost my dad." And inside, of course, it hurt, but I just felt like, hey, my dad would want me to move on with my life, and I kind of felt spiritually that he's always been there for me anyway. So, my parents were good people and old-fashioned. My dad was a World War II veteran, and most people my age, their parents were like Vietnam veterans. So it was a big difference in age for me from most of the other peers in high school and things.
Yeah, a little bit of an age difference, sure. But but you still had the support, and knowing you from the America First Responders Fest, and you did an outstanding performance for us out there.
Thank you.
And that's sincere. I mean, you carry yourself in a way, and even with talking to you now, you're a you got that spiritual background. Like I always like in people, but you're so humble about a lot of your beginnings and a lot of your accomplishments. I mean, you've played in Las Vegas. You're with the Dips. Is that the name of the group you were with?
Well, I was with the Serendipity Singers. When I graduated from the American Academy in 1990, it was during the time frame when Operation Desert Storm was in motion. And I thought it was my patriotic duty, being the son of a World War II veteran, that I would sign up for the military. So I really wanted to go in the Marine Corps. At the time, I was in the best shape of my life. I was able to train 2-3 hours a day. So I thought I would love to be able to do that for my country. So I was going to do that. And my mother, of course, didn't want me to do that. So she found an article actually an ad in the paper for a traveling band looking for a male singer guitar player, and turned out to be the Serendipity Singers. So I auditioned and I got that job, and I got a lot of experience living on a 40-foot bus with 5 other people, 2 men and 3 other women. We all kind of shared different bedrooms within the bus, and got to tour around. It was really interesting. I actually got to be part of the USO with that. So we actually performed for a lot of the troops that were deployed, because they sent us to Iraq.
Oh, man.
And I've got to perform there, but I also got to perform for the families of the deployed troops. And we did a lot of Christmas shows at places like Fort Stewart and Fort Bliss and places like that. Fort Bliss is in Texas, Fort Stewart's in Georgia. And I know they renamed all these forts recently because some of them were, I guess, Confederate soldiers or what have you. But pretty much all of us know the traditional names of a lot of the places. But yeah, it was kind of a launching pad for me. And prior to that, though, I was doing country music, and I started off at a place called Nashville North that was in Bensenville, Illinois.
I remember Nashville North.
Yeah, it's on Irving and York Road there, and now I think they put that overpass so it stopped all the traffic there near O'Hare. They put that overpass, but that was owned by Archie and Marlene Drury. Great people. And every Thursday night they had a talent night. So a buddy of mine that's now a supernatural host on a few ghost channels, his name is Dave Schrader, had called around and he's like, "You're really good. I'm sticking you on stage in front of a live audience instead of playing your guitar in your bedroom. That we got to get you out of there." And so he stuck me in front of a live audience. I was kind of terrified, but as time went on, I just kind of got used to it. And now, to be honest, I feel more comfortable on stage than off most of the time.
Yeah, well, you certainly portray that, because there's no lack of confidence when I see you on stage and the people looking at these pictures here. I mean, you've got the look, you've got that kind of like that Johnny Cash thing too. You always wear that all dark, that leather jacket. And, we had a summer event, and I don't know how the heck you didn't overheat. I mean, there's got to be some secret behind that.
Well, to be honest with you, once it's hot, it's hot. And the reason why we typically wear black is the same reason why Johnny Cash started wearing black, is because all of us have black clothes. It's a lot easier to match and look like, rather than spend a ton of money on it. And, it's slimming. It looks good. As we get older, we don't have the same physiques we had as we're in our 20s and 30s. So, that part of it helps a little. And I just always thought it was kind of a masculine look, and just always kind of preferred it. I even like the old gangster movies where they wore the black shirts and the lighter colored ties. Was always kind of a cool look too.
Yeah, a little bit of dressing up doesn't hurt. We don't dress much as we did in this day and age. Everybody kind of dresses down. Everyone's casual. I used to blame my parents moved to Arizona 25 years ago, and my father was always a dresser. He had a tie on, shirt tie, all the time. Never saw him without one. And I go to Arizona, all of a sudden he's got these cowboy boots on, Levi's, and like a button-up plaid type shirt. Says, "Dad," I said, "Where are we going?" He said, "Well, we're going to dinner." I said, "Well, that's that nice steakhouse, isn't it?" He says, "Well, yeah." And I'm all dressed up thinking we're going to a nice dinner. He said, "No, that's how they dress out here." So, things have tapered down as far as dressing up. But, I don't think you dress down at all. I think you guys look good. Your wild ones are just as awesome, and they stand out. So I think that the black almost makes you stand out than anything,
Well, thank you. And I actually got two opportunities in my life to meet Johnny Cash, and they were a 6-year apart thing. One of them was when I was in Serendipity Singers. I was doing some shows near Washington, D.C., and I had just gone to the Smithsonian Institute, and I wanted to see Ford's Theater, and I had no way around because we had this bus, and I couldn't very well just take the bus and go wherever I wanted, so I had to do a lot of walking. So I walked, I don't even know how far it is, but it was far, to go from Smithsonian Institute to Ford's Theater. And right, Ford's Theater, a little bit down the street, was a music store, and right in front of the music store was another tour bus. Didn't have anything on the sides, but just over the driver's seat was a black sign with white writing. It said Johnny Cash.
I'll be darned.
And, so I said, God, he's got to be in there. And I happened to be wearing a Sun Records T-shirt where he got his career started. And I went in there, and there he was, looking at a guitar with a salesman. And I thought to myself, I'm going to see if he'll talk to me. So I started talking to him. He was very friendly, gave me a very warm smile. Talked to him for a few seconds, and he said, "Oh, you must be a rockabilly," is what they called guys that had the DA and sideburns, and saw that I had the Sun Record T-shirt. And I said, "Yeah, I sure am, and big fan of yours." Like, "Thank you." And the sales guy kind of said, "Hey, trying to sell Mr. Cash's, butt out loan kind of thing,
Oh, that's great. I mean, just to be able to meet Johnny Cash, huh?
Yeah, and then about 6 years later, I got the opportunity to open up for him, and I asked the greater powers that be if I could maybe meet him before the show. So they took me where the green room was, and I got to go inside. And as soon as he saw me, he said, "You've come a long way since Washington, D.C." So I actually got to meet him again, and he actually remembered who I was.
Isn't that something? Yeah.
How can he remember me after all he's been through? But, hey, you know, when it comes down to it, I'm just a guy like Johnny Cash was just a guy, and we're all just people. We put our pants on one leg at a time. So I like that humbleness about Johnny Cash. So maybe that kind of helped me. You say I am. I hope I am, because I appreciate anybody that's willing to support my band or love my artwork or whatever it is that they're doing, because it's surely appreciated.
Well, you wear it well, for no other better way to say it. I mean, you really do. I mean, Rick, you've just been, outstanding with everybody, on stage with us. I mean, requests, you'll take requests. I've heard you at different venues and that. Marky loves the heck out of you, because I know he saw you at the Arcada last weekend. He talked about it on his show, and it's a great thing. I mean, we love being able to have people on this show here, which what this is designed for, is to let people know what's going on in the Fox River Valley, and that you are just a regular guy. But listen, can you hold on for just this hard break we got to take? Because I just got a few more questions, and I'll let you go. I know you have a show you're preparing for, but if you don't mind, you want to hang out for just a little bit?
I sure will.
All right, thanks, Rick. Hang on for a bit. Everybody who listens to WRMN 1410, we got Rick Lindy and the Wild Ones. Rick Lindy on the line with us, so please stay tuned. We're going to talk to him just as soon as we come back.